Hi guys, Ruth Delgado and Ruth Delgado's Glamour Page back again. So I'm here today. This is my third video in the day, and it's a day early, but I'm not gonna be able to do it tomorrow because I have so much to do. So this is going to be my second series of videos for my Sexy Saturday Stripper Tales. So I'm going to talk about basically what my Sexy Saturday Stripper Tales is about. Is basically, usually it's recorded on a Saturday or I upload it on a Saturday. But, anyways, it's basically a time frame that I focus on talking about times that I spent in the club, in the strip club. If you guys are already a part of the Truth Tribe and already subscribed to my channel, Ruth Delgado Glamour Page, then you probably have already seen a number of my videos that I have already uploaded that talks about how I used to dance and dance as in I used to, work at the strip club. I used to be a dancer. So I talk about the stories and the times that I experienced in that time frame that I was dancing. So today I have a lineup of different stories to talk to you guys about. So I really think that these stories are pretty juicy and interesting. So I hope you really feel up. Okay, so first thing I'm going to talk about is when I went to New Jersey to dance, and yeah, so I remember it was a few times that people asked me. My phone is ringing. I can't answer that right now because I had to keep going with my videos. But anyway, I remember it's a few times that people had asked me, "Oh, have you ever went like out of state or out of the city of where you live at to dance?" And I have. But this is the only time that I've done it though, because I actually had planned on doing it again, but I ended up not being able to because I couldn't get things together with my transportation. So basically, um, I went to New Jersey. I went to Atlantic City, New Jersey by car. Um, I was with an ex-boyfriend at the time, and he basically was like, you know what, forget Philly right now, because basically at this time frame that I was dancing, Philly clubs was like really not making money at that time. So he was like, you know what, forget Philly for a while. You don't gotta stay in Philly. Won't we go to Atlantic City and take you to a few clubs there? And I was like, you know what, I've always been planning on doing that anyway. But I just was thinking that initially I was going to do it with some other girls so that I can like, make money with some other people. But that never ended up working out because I don't know, trying to work things out with females is just kind of weird. So that's why I was like, okay, that might be a good idea to do with him. Because I know he could be my security. I know he gonna look out for me, watch my back and everything. So I had told him, I was like, you know what, yeah, that's a good idea. As long as you don't have a problem with me looking out for me, making sure you watch my back and being my security and driving me around. And he was like, oh yeah, no problem. I don't have no problem with that. So we ended up getting a nice, like cheap room or whatever. And he had his own car, if I'm not mistaken. So we ain't had to like rent no car or nothing like that. And we went I went to two clubs that night. Um, I tried out at two different clubs. I actually got hired at both of them. But I'm going to tell y'all about my experiences trying out at these clubs. So one of the clubs that I was trying out at, I don't remember the names of the clubs. Excuse me, I'm sorry that I don't remember the names of the clubs. But one of the clubs that I was trying out at was kind of like a upscale, technically like a upscale kind of club where it was like, they wanted you to have like a full face of makeup done all the time. They wanted to make sure that your hair was done. Like they basically did not allow people to just walk in there any kind of way. Like some clubs, you can get away with walking in with a wig that might not be the best wig, but look like you tried. And that's kind of how the other club was that I tried out at. It wasn't a like down the bottom kind of club, like where you can come in any your kind of way. But like I said, it was one of those kind of clubs where if you at least put in the effort, put a nice wig on, and you look pretty decent already, probably without the wig, then they'll let you slide. So it was kind of like technically like a upscale kind of club, and then it was like a middle scale kind of club. And so the upscale club was a lot. Ugh, it was a lot of testiness with that club. And the reason why I say that is because like it was like weird because all right, it was majority white or light skin. Like it was like maybe one or two darker complected females that worked at this club, but majority of the females was white. And they didn't even use like regular money when you did like the VIP dances and stuff like that, or you got a champagne court. They didn't, arrange you dealing with money. You actually had funny money that you would use in that particular club. I think it was kind of like a cabaret type thing. And literally, sometimes when I still go through my stuff, I still be seeing some of that funny money that I never got the chance to trade in. Because by the end of the night of my first night working at that club, it was so many people and so many girls trying to trade in their funny money that I didn't even get a chance to trade in my funny money. And I didn't have like a lot. I had more real dollars than I had funny money. So that was good for me because majority of my money was like the regular money anyway. But, you know, I still wanted to trade my regular, my funny money in for the real money. But I didn't get the chance to do that. But I thought I was going to get the chance to do it because I knew that I was planning on coming back the next day. But what ended up happening is I had got hired to come back the next day. I wanted to come back the next day. But I mean, not the next day, the next weekend. But what ended up happening is I ended up finding out that basically the train rides getting to Atlantic City was like very scarce. Like it was no train rides really going to Atlantic City when I was trying to go. And I wasn't thinking that that was going to happen. I don't know what I was thinking. Probably just wasn't thinking about it really. But I wasn't thinking that that was going to happen. So I had basically what I did was the first weekend when I went there with my boyfriend that I was with at that time and tried out for the 3 days that I stayed in Atlantic City in that hotel room. Um, I worked. I worked both of the clubs for those nights. And so I had told them that I was going to attempt to come the next week. And I tried to, but I ended up not being able to get the train ride because the trains was just like not riding. Like they wasn't, no train was going to Atlantic City at the time that I needed it. So I ended up never being able to go back to the clubs to work again. But I did get hired at both of the clubs. Now, my worst experience club was the one that was like the upscale one because the other one was more lax, I can say. And like the reason why I say that the upscale one was harder is because, or more frustrating, is because The weird looks that I got and stuff was so awkward at that predominantly white club. Now I still got weird looks at the black club too, but it wasn't as bad, and I did feel more comfortable at the more so black, mixed crowd club. Because a lot of the girls that I seen at the more mixed crowd club, I actually seen before. Like I had seen them dancing in Philly, or I had seen them in other areas. So I was like, it wasn't as complicated as at the place where it was predominantly white people, because I didn't really know none of them people that was at the majority white club. So it was just like, But anyways, it was like two totally different experiences. It was so, oh my gosh, it was more relaxed also at the predominantly black club, because it was so much busier and like this at the predominantly white club. If I'm not mistaken, the predominantly white club only open like 2 to 3 days a week or something, which was like Friday, Saturday, something like that, like the most popular days where it's like a lot of people, and it was like BYOB, like bring your own alcohol type place. And it was so packed in there, and it was like you had to like be quick changing and everything, like you had to do everything fast, because the way that they would call your name on stage, it was like clockwork. Like by the time you got yourself together, cleaned up, and dressed for the next set, like it was not a lot of time. It was just like, it was kind of hectic. But at the other more predominantly like mixed crowd, where it was more black girls and girls that I had known from Philly, it wasn't that, you know, back to back, like you had to constantly like be right back out on the floor. Like you could take your time, you could relax a little bit, and let you relax a little bit and get a little breather in between sets. But yeah, so I wanted to tell y'all about that, because it's like, yeah, I definitely did go out of town. Went to Atlantic City, and those girls was very like kind of weird in the predominantly white club, most definitely. Y'all, I don't know why I'm feeling a little lightheaded, but I'm not liking how I'm feeling. So I might cut this video kind of short, but I'm gonna do what I can. I'm getting a little lightheaded. I don't understand why. But anyway, so that's the end of talking about that adventure. Yeah. I'm going to talk about how when I first started auditioning for the strip clubs and stuff, it was hard for me to get hired, believe it or not. And I was being told that I was going to get hired with no problem because I was pretty and I had a nice body. But it's so crazy because that wasn't necessarily the case at first. And I recognized that one of the reasons why that wasn't the case was because, first of all, even though I knew how to dance when I first started dancing, I didn't know how to dance like a dancer. I knew how to dance like a girl that's like, you know, danced in church. I didn't know how to shake my butt. I wasn't like comfortable enough to do stuff like that and stuff like that. I didn't know how to do a split, and I also didn't know how to like prepare myself or get all made up like a dancer. I didn't know how to really do my makeup the best yet or dress the part like an entertainer or dancer. So I feel like that might have had a lot to do with the reason why at first I did not get hired at a lot of clubs. Like when I first started dancing, I had to start in a hole in the wall type of places. Excuse me, y'all, for yawning, but I had to start in a hole in the wall type places because at first they was giving me a hard time at the better clubs, like getting in. But I noticed after I had gotten used to working on my makeup and getting my makeup done better and learning how to do my own makeup better, and also like learning how to keep my hair like really looking at its best, whether it was natural or not, as well as a lot of times trying to make sure that I didn't wear my hair out natural, especially at upscale clubs, because I don't know, it was kind of awkward and weird because depending on the crowd, some crowds loved your natural hair, and then some crowds didn't have no problem with like kind of in a rude way, like you know that they didn't like it. So it was just real awkward and weird. But yeah, I wanted to let y'all know that like once I started really like learning how the girls in the club danced and how they maneuvered and how they did their makeup and their hair and stuff like that, after I, familiarized myself with stuff like that, then I noticed that I start to get more um, people hiring me at the clubs as well as more money when I was working. So, also, in those experiences of going to different clubs, I can definitely say that even in the strip club, it's definitely obvious racism and complications with racism. It's not just like in a regular workplace where you experience issues with racism. No, you experience issues with racism in the strip club too. Because I remember you used to have situations where some of the bouncers, if you was cool with some of the bouncers or if you was cool with some of the DJs, they would like put you on to money. Like they would tell you when a A-lister would come into the club. What I call an A-lister is basically somebody that you know is like a doctor or a lawyer or a basketball player, or somebody that is like famous and that everybody know got money, that for the most part people think they gonna spend money. So a lot of times when the A-listers came into the club, the bouncers and the DJs, if you was cool with them, they would let you know that the A-lister either is coming into the club or is there, and they would like talk you up, especially if it was the DJ. They talk you up like when they bring you onto the stage and stuff like that. And I noticed being in certain clubs that was like a lot more predominantly white or lighter skin, I noticed how certain DJs and certain bouncers wouldn't give girls that look like me any play. Like they wouldn't tell us when the money came in, or they wouldn't tell us when they knew that an A-lister was about to come in and it was about to get wild and crazy in the club and that person was really going to have money and all we had to do was be close to them. They wouldn't tell us, but they would tell the girls that didn't look like us so that they can go make money. So it was like a lot of issues like that. Or when it was like a special, like it was this one club that I used to dance at. It was like predominantly white club too. It wasn't in Philly, but it was like in close proximity to Philly. It was like the Northeast or something like that. And it was another BYOB, bring your own alcohol, whatever. And I remember that they used to have times when they used to have like special like parties, like Super Bowl parties, or um like grooms about to get married type parties and stuff like that. And usually when they had parties like that, they would pick certain specific girls to have those parties with. And those girls would get bulk of the money because they would make sure before they even get the party that these guys are going to tip you. And I only had like 2 times that I got to get one of those parties because, like I said, they would not usually give girls that look like me those parties. They usually would. And I know that it was management that wouldn't come get us because I remember a few times I had basically was just there while they was having the parties, but I wasn't in the party. And I would have guys come get me and be like, no, I want you. I don't want none of these girls that they got around me. I want you. And I'm like, I'm not allowed in there, because like when they was having the private parties, only the girls that they told to go into the party was supposed to be in there. So I'm like, I'm not allowed in there. But they like, but no, I don't want to spend no money on these other girls. These other girls are not cute like you. And I would tell them, well, you gotta take me to management or somebody and tell management that you want me, and then they would do that, and then I would get to make some money off of them. But yo, I went through a lot of that, like where if I looked up and talked to somebody, which sometimes I would look up and get into a good conversation with somebody, or I would catch somebody's eye without even really noticing that I was even catching their eye, and they'd be like, "You come here," and I'd be like, "What's up?" And they'd be like, I wanna dance with you. They got all these ugly girls. They would say they got all these ugly girls in here, and I don't want to dance with them. And I'm like, don't be calling girls ugly. And they be like, but for real though, they all look like ducks. I remember this one guy told me that he was like, they all look like ducks. I was like, I wanted to laugh so bad. It was so crazy. He said they all look like ducks. Wow. But anyway, so yeah, I definitely went through issues like that where it was like definitely a lot of different instances where you could have made some money, but because these people wouldn't come get you and let you know that you can make some money, if unless you lucked up like sometimes I did and get somebody to actually like you and see you and want you, you wasn't able to really make money. It's a sad situation. But anyway. Um and also I noticed with being a dancer, if you're not careful, like if you don't find some type of way like to make money and put some kind of money to the side and stuff like that, you could make a lot of money. And I mean thousands, hundreds of thousands, even millions with dancing and never see that money. How and why? Because they require you to pay so many dues. They require you to get your makeup done, which costs you, if it's a good makeup artist, you can easily pay $50 to $100 or more for a full face of makeup and to keep that makeup up all night. Like outfits, oh gosh, we're not even going to talk about them because outfits are very expensive. I mean, I don't know how they are now because I haven't danced in like the past couple of years, but them outfits, especially them shoes, cost a lot of money. So, yeah, it's a lot of money. You got to pay the door fee. You got to pay the house mom. You got to pay the DJ. You got to pay tip out to like security and stuff. Like if you had security count your money up for you, if you had security get your clothes together for you, if you had security do anything for you, like walk you out to your car or anything like that, you had to give security a tip or something. Like it was so many different people and so many different ways that in the club they milk you for your money. So if you're not careful, it's very easy for that money to just kind of like slip through your fingers. All right. Next, also, if you don't stretch and if you're not like a person that's like constantly on the move, consistently on the move, and like stay active, you can like really suffer and go through a lot of aches and pains and issues where it's like you gonna have to like take some bubble baths with some Epsom salts because you might be really sore because doing a lot of the dancing and the working out and all of that stuff, it definitely it weighs on your body. It really it can make you sore. So especially like me, I was a real dancer, so I was really dancing all night. So man, a lot of times I would wake up the next morning feeling like I got beat up because I was dancing so hard. and everything. So that is definitely something that you got to go through when you being a dancer. But it does help when you take like dance classes and pole dance classes and stuff like that. I know when I was doing that, that helped. All right. Also, and this gonna be the last thing that I'm gonna talk about because I'm feeling a little lightheaded and I don't know why. But make sure y'all, if y'all dance, if y'all think about dancing or anything like that, make sure y'all very careful. If you take a ride from somebody, be careful not to take rides from people you don't know or people that don't make sure you're okay. All right, guys, see y'all in the next video.